This is the second video that I'm doing on Kdenlive. In the first video we covered installing it and then moved on to doing some basic editing. We skipped over quite a bit of stuff, which I'll cover in this video. The reason we skipped it in the first video was just so that we could get you up and running, allow you to get a video edited and get a sense of accomplishment from that. We'll start by going to Settings, run Config Wizard. This might look different on different versions of Kdenlive, but it allows you to set some basic configurations, such as here, the video standard at 1080 by 30 frames, and some of my project folders, that sort of thing. If you can't get to the settings you're after in there, there is another one called Configure Kdenlive, and the menu may look different depending again on the version of Kdenlive. Here you've got a number of categories down the left. Miscellaneous options, project defaults such as video tracks at 3. You can see I've got 3 video tracks down the left and 2 audio. There's the 2 audio tracks. Some timeline defaults. For example, you can see I've got a video in the timeline at the moment. This is to do with thumbnails. So if I click that, you'll see these thumbnails on the end will disappear when I apply it. With audio, you can see the audio track, little peaks and troughs down the bottom there. We'll apply that, that disappears as well. So there's lots of settings to play with in here. I recommend you come in and have a bit of a look. Environment, you can see I have some default folders set here again, and so forth. So come in here and have a bit of a play through the settings and set it up as best you can for what you're doing for your own environment. Up the top here we have Project Bin, Properties, Effects, and the Project Monitor. We can see they have an X in the top right hand corner of them. Hitting the X will get rid of it. Not always what you want to do. If you go into View, we go to Properties, there's Properties back. So if you accidentally click on something such as the Clip Monitor and the Project Monitor, you can come back into View and you can find Project Monitor and Clip Monitor, and now it's back. You can also see these areas are adjustable by size with the mouse, like so. The same as this whole bottom section, you can adjust like that as well. We also have these little diamonds. Again, this might depending on the version of Kdenlive you're using, but if I hit the diamond, the properties box is now floating, and I can bring it over here and put it in with the transitions and effects, so it becomes a tab along the bottom here. Hitting the diamond again, I can drag it back to where it came from, resize everything how it was before, and we're good to go again. If you don't want so many timeline tracks over the bottom here, you can right click on them and go delete track, and that track's gone, and now we've got a little bit more room. So again, that'll depend on how much screen space you've got and what else you've got going on your screen. But there's a few things to note about the actual interface itself. If you click on a video in the project bin, for example, here's one called Fern. If we click on it, we see a fern shows up here. We can click on the image, it'll start playing, like so. So that's on the project monitor. You can see there's the tab for the clip monitor, which is down here. If we click on this video down the bottom, we can play that. Or we can go back to this one over here, for example. So whichever one you click on will preview in here. If you're not sure what it is, before you drag it down into your timeline, you can click on it and just have a little quick look at it over here, or you can drag the playhead across if you want to get a quick look at it. And same with down here, you can drag this line across the video like that to get a bit of a quick look at what the video's about there as well. We'll go through a bit more video editing as well. You can see I've got a few videos already lined up here. We've got one down there, we'll drag another one down like so, and I've got an audio track as well, so we'll drag that down into the audio track and we'll put them all in position. We'll bring the size so we can see them all. There's 2 video tracks and 1 audio track. You can see the video is quite a bit longer than the the audio track, and what I've done is I've just shot a bit of bush scene, about 8 seconds of a bush scene with my phone and of a fern in the backyard. I've done a voiceover with the intention of getting the voiceover to match the video components. So I'll give a brief play, see where the volume is, turn it down a little bit. This is the great outdoors in Australia. Bit of bush, some clay on the ground, nice blue sky above. Okay, you can see I said nice blue sky, and it had actually already gone to the fern footage, so we need to match that up a little bit better. To do that, we can see there's a few seconds at the start of the audio track where there's very little sound. The line you sort of see across the bottom is just the background noise, and these peaks are where I'm speaking. So we could actually chop this front little bit off because there's no real signal there that we want. We could cut it. We can also, if we put the mouse over the line, we can actually just click and drag that back rather than cutting it, and then we can just slide that back in. And now if we look, we can see that where the first video ends, the audio actually ends as well. So that should play more in tune with each other. There, we've still got the problem here with the other video being too long, and we've got this long gap in the audio. So we'll address the audio first. There are a number of ways we could do this. We could hit X on the keyboard, or we could use the razor tool down the bottom here, or if yours up over here somewhere, wherever it is, the pair of scissors. But I like to use X, so I'm going to use X. We could cut it here, and we could cut it here, and then we could select it and press delete and close it up. That would work. I can delete this back section, and I can actually drag this front section. I can actually drag all that audio straight back out of it. Similar to what we did in the front there, we just sort of closed the front off. We could just do one cut anywhere in the center, like that. Then we could go back to the selection tool by pressing S, and then we can just bring our mouse here and just close it up like that. So it's the old more than one way to skin a cat. And we can close that one up, like so. And we butt them up together. And we'll have a listen now. Nice blue sky above. This is a tree fern in the back garden. Okay, that's better. The audio finishes about when the bush scene finishes, and then I start talking about the fern. However, there's one problem here. If we go to the next part of the audio, with the sun glistening off the leaves. Okay, the sun glistening off the leaves. Actually, if I click on the end here, you'll see the leaves get quite a bit brighter, like that. And that's actually the section that I want. Again, I could just hit X, and I could cut the front section off like that. Hit S and select it and press delete to get rid of it. Then slide it in. It's still too long. We could also just drag the front section up to the back like so, and then we can just bring this in. It'll snap when it lines up. They sort of snap in place. The software knows what you're intending on doing. Then we can just drag the front back out. We've got our correct length now. So we'll play the whole video. This is the great outdoors in Australia. Bit of bush, some clay on the ground, nice blue sky above. This is a tree fern in the back garden with the sun glistening off the leaves. Okay, see how that all matched up better now? Much tidier. You may have noticed also a lot of background noise. If I just click in here where the speaking finishes, if you listen, you'll hear some background noise. I'll turn the volume up a little bit and just listen for hissing in the background. Yeah. A bit of bush, some clay on the ground. Okay, that's actually coming off the audio track. If I disable the audio on the bottom, if I keep playing, there's all the background noise there. So what I can do is just disable the audio by clicking on the speaker icon for video track 3 where the two videos are. We'll disable that. We'll re-enable the bottom audio, which is the actual audio that we want, and we'll play it again now. This is the great outdoors in Australia. A bit of bush, some clay on the ground, nice blue sky above. This is a tree fern in the back garden with the sun glistening off the leaves. And you probably notice all that background noise was gone, so that's the way of getting rid of noise, especially in this case where we've got a separate audio track. At this point now, if you wanted to produce this as a video that you want to keep, we could hit render and we could give it a name. Let's call it Bush Fern. And we hit render, and in about 5 or 10 seconds we should have a file there that we can play in our video player. So I'll go and find that file, and here I am in the file manager. There's Bush Fern, so if we double click that, the great outdoors in Australia, and turn the volume around, so there it is. It's opened in VLC. Some clay on the ground, nice blue sky above. This is a tree fern in the back garden with the sun glistening off the leaves. Easy as that. So now in a few minutes we've managed to create a workable video, something that we can use. And we've learned a little bit about opening and closing, lengthening and shortening the videos, butting them up together, and using the audio peaks, the peaks in the audio signal to figure out where there's volume, where there's something going on, where there's not. So that's actually a way that I use. I'll show you in a moment. On most of the videos I do, I just do a screen capture. And when I make a mistake, if I say the wrong thing or forget something and need to repeat it, I'll leave a break of 5 or 10 seconds. And I might even say at the end, like, oh, that was no good, take 2, you know, and then I'll have a little break. So when I drag the video down here into my video tracks, I can just look at the audio signal in it and go, there's that break. So I automatically know I can just cut the front of the video off like that, because that'll be the part that I made the mistake on, and I know this will be the part that I want. Now I'll show you an example of that. Here's an example of what I was speaking about. I'm just looking at the control panel on my computer, and allegedly I want to look at the mouse settings, but I've hit the wrong button, so I'll play the video. Let's go and have a look at our mouse. I hit the wrong button, so I'll be quiet for a moment. Here we are in the mouse. So we can see here, this is about where I got it right at the end here. If we play that again. Here we are in the mouse. Okay, and this is where I made the mistake. I hit the wrong button, so I'll be quiet for a moment. Okay, so I've left signals there. I can see where I was introducing the scene, and then I've made the mistake and I've deliberately left a few seconds there. So once again, we can just do a cut, and it doesn't matter where we do it. We can do it the cheat way. We'll just do one cut, and we can just drag that out of it there. And the same thing here, we can drag that back like so, and then we put them together and we play the video again. Let's go and have a look at our mouse. Here we are in the mouse. And you can see in a couple of seconds we've managed to fix that mistake without having to reshoot the video, just by letting the video continue, and then we fix it in the editing phase here. This is one of the reasons I like to leave the audio signal in there, and sometimes the thumbnails, they get in your way a little bit when you're trying to edit stuff, because it might be dark and you're having trouble seeing the audio. It's not too bad there, but sometimes I've had, say, the fern one, I've had where it's a little bit difficult to see the sound signal there. But usually all I do there is just stretch the video out even further, like that, to be able to see it. So there's lots of ways to get the job done, as you can see. And again, in a couple of seconds now, we've got a usable piece of video there that we could use if we wanted to. In this video, we went through some of the settings of Kdenlive. We adjusted the interface to suit our own preferences, and then we did a little bit more advanced from last time video editing. In the next video I'll be going through some transition and effects added to video clips. I hope you found this informative, and I'll catch you next time.